welcome to the Live with Brandon Blakney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakney.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Brandon Blakney, aka BrandonLee TV, back at it again with another one. Got a dope guest with me tonight. Well, I should say this afternoon, Friday. Miss Quierra Luck. Quierra, I appreciate you being here on the show with me today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
No doubt. I see you got your Carolina blue on representing.
I just so happen to have this sweatshirt on today. I promise it is by accident. It's actually a friend of mine, his media company, and it just so happens to be Carolina blue. So,
Oh, I get that free promo in for the friend.
Right.
You a real one.
I'm a good friend.
Yeah, I respect that. So, speaking of Carolina, definitely want to dive into your background. I did a little bit of research, a little bit of homework. From Fayetteville, North Carolina, right?
I am. I like to say I'm from Fayetteville by the way of Durham. I moved to Durham when I was in like 5th grade. So I've really been in Durham all my life, but originally I am from Fayetteville. My father still lives there. So I claim both backyards. So I'm twice the ratchet is what I like to say.
Is your pops Army?
Yes, he is. I was born
Same,
on base
same.
Fort Bragg, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. So I went to UNC Pembroke, so I'm really familiar with that area too myself, you know.
Right.
But I definitely wanted to dive in with you a little bit and just see how you've gotten thus far. How are we here today? What brought you into this amazing world of sports, covering, a college level team?
So I have always been involved in sports since I was a kid. I've been cheering since I was about 5, 6 years old. And it's just always been embedded in me. I told everybody that the only reason why I cheer is to get into the games for free. So I would often get in trouble because I was too busy watching the game or yelling at players. And I just fell in love with the intensity. I fell in love with the competition, and I fell in love with the uncertainty. Every year, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, you can always hope for a championship, but you just do not know. And I just hate routine. Like, I hate the thought of getting up every day, and it's exactly the same. With sports, you just don't know what's going to happen that day. You had zero idea. You're covering thousands of players, and they're all their individual selves, and they all have their own personality. So you don't know what they're going to do that day. So I like to be kept on my toes, and just getting into sports was easy for me. In 2012, I was talking about Cam Newton. I'm a homegrown Carolina girl. I mean, through and through, my favorite color is blue.
Respect.
So every shade of blue, from the Charlotte Hornets to the Carolina Panthers to Carolina, I just grew up a fan. And in 2012, I was talking about Cam Newton, and Robert Latala of BSO was like, get off of Twitter and, get it on paper. And so I did. Started writing for him, and then it branched off into me doing radio, working for the Charlotte Hornets, and where else?
What was that like? You can't just drop that off all nonchalant. Like, what was that like?
So it was really amazing. I can't lie. It was the best part of my career, because that was the opportunity that I got to talk to Kobe Bryant. Even though it was just one question, I was just in awe of his presence. It was during his farewell tour, and
Wow.
it was just, I was just shocked to even be in that space with Kobe and to be able to just ask him a simple question. It wasn't even anything intriguing or hard.
What do you remember? What was the question? I put you on the spot.
So I think I asked him something along the lines of, what does he want his teammates to gain from his absence or his legacy, something like that. Or I think it was along the lines of, how do you want your teammates to look at you through this farewell tour? Something like that. And he gave, of course, a great answer. And it was just it was a great moment. I cried all the way back to Durham after that night. So yeah, worked with the Hornets. Worked locally with our ESPN radio station here. Man, I work with Essence, OK Player. So I'm not just into sports. I'm into music and Black history and anything dealing with the Black culture.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been everywhere.
Well, I can already tell now we definitely gonna have you on again. I would have put in some more music talk if I would have known. I'll definitely know next time. How you feel about 90s R&B?
Well, how do I feel about it? That's all I listen to. I didn't realize it was that bad. I had a friend of mine who was in the car with me, and all of the music I was playing was so old, and it made me feel bad because I wasn't playing anything like that was happening. And I was like, yeah. I didn't realize how old I am until like you got in the car. So that's really, give me like a Toni Braxton. That's my girl. I love me some Toni, some Boys II Men, or my favorite Joe. Yeah.
Ooh,
I am a Joe girl. Like, he is my Trey Songz before Trey Songz even knew what singing was. So yeah, I do. I love Joe.
You gotta respect the OGs. We might have to revisit that before I let you go. But just continuing in sports for a bit, because I'm myself try to be well rounded too. Like fashion, sports, music, it's all together. Like it's all culture.
It's synonymous. Like there's not one thing that doesn't happen without the other. And even with like, I think even more so with, well, I wouldn't say Drake kind of made it popular, but I think with Drake's popularity, it kind of really took off. I mean, even though we saw like Snoop on the sidelines with USC back with Reggie Bush and them, like, I mean, we saw it, but I think Drake really kind of blurred the lines a bit with all the involvement he has with Toronto. So yeah, I give Drake all that credit.
Oh, you know it was crazy when they interviewed my man after the championship. They weren't even looking for Kawhi and them, like they was looking for Drake.
Exactly. That shows you how much impact he has on the culture there.
Yeah, I love to see it, and I definitely want to touch base with that again. But wanted to stick with peeling back a little bit to your career. Now we're here, 2020, and you are covering North Carolina. Being not only a minority in sports, but a woman as well in sports, fighting two battles, and especially with a lot of these writing jobs we see in media. We need more Black media, and it's times where you feel like you got to work twice as hard to get just as far. So it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword being Black and then being a woman. It's, you're fighting, two wars almost. And there's definitely been times where I've walked into media rooms and I'm the only Black girl. And, it is what it is. And at times it's kind of like, you have to be an example of all Black women. Like you're setting the tone for the rest of them. And it's quite some weight to carry because if you mess up, that's a reflection of everybody else, and it sucks because white people don't, they have the luxury of, if I mess up, then it doesn't affect the next person coming in, but for us it kind of does. So it's definitely, like I said, a double-edged sword, but I carry it proudly because I know the shoulders I stand on, and I know who came before me, and I know that the work that was put in for me to be in these spaces. So I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. I'm thankful for every opportunity that comes my way, whether big or small. That's why whenever people ask me for, whatever they need me to do, I'm always like, yes, because I know how hard it is to hear a yes. And I know that I'm very grounded in faith, and my thought is always stuff is always going to get taken care of. Like I know God has me. So regardless of how many yeses I say, even if I'm tired or even if there's no money involved, I know my life is good because I'm paying it forward I will always pay it forward. So yeah, it's a road, but I think we're built for it, especially Black women. There hasn't been a time where we're not built, for something. And I know some incredible other Black women in the industry. And at times it's usually just the three of us in a room. And the three of us have to work together to make sure that, we're everywhere, because at times, it's hard to kind of network in those spaces. So, maybe one is on the court, maybe one is in the press room, or maybe one is, at another locker room. So, we definitely have built a tribe, and I love it. And again, we've worked hard to be in these spaces, and I know that we won't let anybody down. Yeah.
What's dope to me is being in a TV background too. I work at a TV station as well, and just seeing you could even remember up until last year, the year before, you weren't seeing the curls and the braids and stuff, and it felt like Black girl magic has completely just taken over. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's funny because I went to NABJ, I want to say, was that 2-3 years ago, maybe, in New Orleans. And
did you go in Detroit?
No, I went to one in New Orleans. So the year before that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went and my hair was natural. I'm thinking I'm surrounded by my people, I'll be good. And I was talking to this one guy. He was out of New England. I think it was like the Boston sports area. And I was talking to him about my reel, and he was like, your hair, you need to straighten it. Like, you need straight hair. This whole look isn't going to fly. And then he proceeded to point to a white girl that was shown on the screen. And he was like, you see that look, how polished that is? That's what you need to look like. And after that, I kid you not, I went to my hotel room and cried, because in no way, shape, or form was I expecting to hear a Black man at a Black news conference tell me that I wasn't going to be on TV if I didn't mimic this, young lady, this young white lady on TV. And I was just like flabbergasted. And that just broke me to pieces. Yeah. So I didn't listen. I still continue to wear my braids and my curls and everything, because it's who I am, and it's nothing that I can change. And that's like the weird part about it, is that people comment on it like it's something you can just easily change. They don't know, like, if you put these chemicals in your hair might fall out, it might damage you. Yeah, it might damage you in more ways than one. So it's just really weird to have people comment on something that they have no clue how it impacts you, not only aesthetically, but internally. So, I'm just happy that, let me correct this. I don't know if I'm happy about it, because it shouldn't take the year 2020, but I am.
I'll get straight.
I'm happy about that there are finally laws being passed that are, no longer regulating people of color's hair, whether it's in locks or, curls or whatever. You can't discriminate against that. How wild that is, that you have to pass legislation for that. But that's where we are.
Right though, like, it is nuts. And looking ahead to the next generation, because there's always new journalists coming up under us. How important do you think that representation, how impactful, how impressionable is that for them to see that now?
Even for me, being at my age, and I'm so excited to look at commercials and see girls now. Like, I think it's been like a hot minute that I've actually seen a Black woman on TV with straight hair, like in commercials. Like, it's becoming more natural or more not
it's
regular.
It's a norm almost.
It's a norm. There you go. It's becoming more normal to see Black people with their natural hair. And it gets me excited. Then I know it gets little girls excited, because you don't have to pretend to be something you're not, for a career that you love. And that's difficult to have to make sacrifices for something that you love. You know, you don't want to have to sacrifice who you are to be a part of a culture. And I'm just happy that, you know, people are accepting that this just grows out of my hair. I can't control it.
Yes.
It is what it is. This is like, and that's what makes me, you know, question people who are racist. Like, how can you like be mad at me for something that I had zero control over? Like zero. Right. But yeah, so if it makes me happy, then I know for the next generation it should make them happy, because at that point it should be normal, you know? I shouldn't be happy about it in 2020. In 2040, 2050, I'm hoping that at that point it's like normal. So
most definitely, and that's a great answer. Thank you for shedding some light on that, and you know, just sharing from your personal experiences.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen some things, and it's crazy that I'm seeing it in 2020, because you wouldn't think. But,
and it's sad. Like, I hear some of the same stuff like my grandparents will say, and I'm like, well, I mean, it ain't all that different. Like, obviously, it's a lot better since their time, but still, some of the same stuff retroactively, like.
Yeah, it's crazy that, but I mean, when you only think about it, we're not even a full 100 years or so post like getting basic rights. So like, you know, we're still, you know, trying to weave into a country that wasn't built for us, a country that wasn't meant for us, a country that had no planning of African Americans being a person. You know, we were property. We were 3/5 of a person. So, you know, we weren't meant for this country. So I think we're still trying to find our way. But seeing the younger generation and what they're doing and how vocal they are, especially about the environment and racism, I'm hoping that, I don't think racism will ever go away. Hate breeds hate. You know, I often wonder, because Emmett Till's accuser or his murderer is still alive. And I can only imagine what she taught her family. Like, you know, things like that are in my brain. Like, you know, she's 80 years old, but I'm sure she's still racist. Like, you don't just kill a child and, you know, oh, I'm changed. No, that doesn't happen. So,
and you know, yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, that's all I was gonna say. You're right, and she's spreading that down generation. She's teaching that, and furthering that.
Yeah, I just hope that racism kind of just becomes this like disgust, like, you know, you're racist. Like, really? In 20?
It's played out, bro.
Still, like, really? Still? Like, I hope it gets to that point. So, yeah. I have really great faith in my children's children whenever they may come.
Straight up. And I know, just speaking on that a little bit, piggybacking, a lot of these younger generation, these athletes with these huge platforms are really expressing themselves. And I think that's a beautiful thing to see as well.
Yeah, this has definitely been such an eye-opener. And the funny thing is, I know coming into 2020, none of them expected to be, you know, like this. Especially, I would say, white athletes, you know, for the ones that have spoken up. Sophomore quarterback from Carolina, Sam Howell, you know, he spoke up. And I would give props to Trevor Lawrence, you know, even though he doesn't want to be seen as a civil rights activist. I don't know why, but okay. You know, just seeing that.
Could be worse things out there.
It could be, but that's another conversation. But yeah, I thought that was huge. And just seeing these, you know, young Black men and women just stand up and speak and use their voice and, become civil rights activists and, saying what's going on, and even to the point of, alienating certain fan bases because, at these PWIs, there are some people who just want you to shut up and play, and they're not going by that story anymore. And it's just been encouraging to see them do that. And I think that helps with seeing your LeBron James, your Danny Greens, your Harrison Barnes, your Chris Pauls, and, seeing all these prolific athletes, I hate to say risk, but it is a risk because you don't know, like, money is attached to this, and they're risking their careers to stand up for people that they don't even know. So, to have role models like that and to model it is just fantastic for them. And I'm glad they're finding their voice. At Carolina, I know that, Dean Smith was very much a proponent for, integration and making sure that everybody was treated correctly. And, he loved everybody. And, any player of Dean Smith will tell you that, he taught us that we love everybody. And to see that passed on to Coach Roy Williams. And when you're looking at Matt Brown, who has been consistent in speaking about Black Lives Matter. And that's something that I wasn't expecting from, like, a man of his stature. And, like, later on in age, I was expecting him to just be like, you know what, I don't care, I just want to talk football, almost kind of like a Dabo kind of trail.
Unfortunately,
I was expecting him to do that, but because he's seen, he's, I think, 69, 68, so he's seen, racism, and I was just kind of expecting kind of back away from it and just, let it be. But Coach Brown has exceeded all my expectations of what a coach at a PWI is supposed to be, if that makes sense. He's donated to a Black coaches organizations, and it didn't receive a lot of notoriety, a lot of fanfare for it, but he did it quietly. He's brought in Black athletes. One of his former athletes, Emmanuel, I cannot think of his last name, but he has his own TV show now. But one of his former players, Emmanuel, he brought him in to speak to the players, making sure there's therapists on call. Your mental health matters to me. If you can't talk to your teammates, if you can't talk to your family, talk to me. Before you make any mistakes on social media, talk to me. We don't want any of those issues. I know emotions are high. Talk to me. He told his players that, if there's something that you want me to say, if there's something you want me to convey to the masses, tell me and I'll say it. I'll use my platform and my voice for you, speaking for his Black players. And that says a lot.
Oh, man.
And yeah, he's been, it's been marvelous to see. For 5 weeks, I don't know if he did it this past week or so, he's been wearing his Black Lives Matter shirt. And that's just, it's courageous to me. And, to me, that shows that he cares about his Black players. Football is 75% African American. And you kind of have to know what they're going through. And so to kind of place himself in their shoes in any way that he can says a lot about him as a person and him as a coach. So Carolina definitely has the support that they need to be civil rights activists and to use their platforms and to use it correctly. If you don't know how to be an activist or you don't know how to say something, there are parameters in place for those players to ask those questions and then to portray it accurately so that it doesn't hurt them in the long run.
Definitely. And overall, I think UNC as a whole has done a great job removing statues, changing some of these awful building names named after these criminals. So I'm loving that. and I had Keyshawn Silver and Ra Dilworth, two of Mac Brown's top recruits on last week. And these guys are paying. I asked them, how's Mac Brown conveyed y'all's parents at this time to, trust him with their sons right now? And you just hammering that statement home just says so much.
Yeah. So seeing Keyshawn and Ra, just, following them on social media, they are like gung-ho Black Lives Matter. Like, it's no joke. It's no, I don't care if you follow me. I don't care what happens. My life matters. And that has been so encouraging to see. I was not expecting 17, 16, 18-year-olds like really be like gung-ho about it. And they really are. And that has been like, that has made me so proud. Like, every time they do it, I try to make sure I retweet it, because to me, it says a lot when a child has more common sense than most adults. So, just simply saying Black Lives Matter is not a political statement. It's a human right. So, yeah.
And the fact, like you said, that they're gauging that at this age, I mean, they're not even at senior prom yet. You got people with kids that can't even grasp that. So it truly is a shame. All right, Quierra, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Y'all stay with us. We're still going to dive into some Carolina basketball, but it's just so much knowledge in there. I got to pull it all out. So y'all stay tuned with us, and we'll be right back. What's up, everybody? I appreciate y'all sticking around with us. Second segment of Live with Brandon Blakney. Got Miss Quierra Luck on the line with us today, this evening. This afternoon, I should say. Dope first segment. Now we'll focus a little bit into these Tar Heels that you have been covering. I know last year was not your favorite year being on the beat by any means.
Actually, it was not my favorite year.
Shock me now.
Yeah, it wasn't my worst year. I truly think we saw Carolina at their core, and we saw Carolina just be what's what I'm looking for? Realistic. It just
they were real.
So a lot of times you look at like these Power 5 programs, and it's just like, they're so unattainable. And for me, last year, Carolina just seemed like a regular team with regular problems. Because every year, if I remove my professionalism as a fan, you're expecting championship or bust every year. Don't care. I want a championship.
Yeah.
And to see Carolina be what they were last year, it was definitely very eye-opening. And I enjoyed seeing the players give 110%. And I think that's what the best thing was to me. They were players that literally gave everything they had on that floor. And I saw them night after night, the way that, it wore on them, with the expectations, being in that uniform, hearing fans and, hearing critics, it's a toll. But it was just so impressive to see players like you have your seniors, Brandon Robinson, who got in a car accident, and it wasn't at 100% the entire year. He had other nagging injuries and only missed one game. Then you had Leaky Black, who was, he'll tell you he played at an average 70% the entire year. Garrison, I think he only missed one game due to a cold. And, he gave everything he had being that leader on that team. You had Cole Anthony missing 15 games, I think it was. It was 15 or 11. Either way.
It felt like half the season.
Yeah. Missing a big chunk of games, but still on that sidelines cheering that team on. And even coming back, he could have left and prepared for the league early, but he stood on that sideline and he cheered those kids on. And, even still becoming the second highest scoring freshman in the ACC, averaging 18 points, even missing half the season. So, if he played the entire season, he would have killed it. So just
what this season? Let me stop you just real quick. I just want to ask you, like, seeing Cole making that decision to come back, I think that was a really good point you made. What do you think that says about his character? Because everybody thought he was going to bolt for the draft.
I think it says, I think we have to get rid of this notion of thinking that we know people when we don't. We don't know these. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know any athlete. We don't know LeBron James. We don't know. I mean, we don't know what goes through their heads, and we don't also know how they were raised. Cole was raised by great parents. I follow his parents. They're, great people. And I don't think they raised a quitter. And leaving his team would have accomplished what? And if you really thought about it, I'm sure, because he has smart parents. His father was in the NBA. His father knows what these, scouts are thinking. If you leave your team mid-season, how would people look at you? I'm sure someone told him that. So common sense will tell him, I'm going to stay because that's a better look. I mean, I'm sure he stayed for the team, but if you're thinking long-term and you're thinking about the questions that are being asked of you when you're into the NBA, what type of teammate are you? This is the type of teammate I am. I was injured and I still stayed on that sideline and cheered for them regardless of win or loss. I came back and played. I didn't just give up on this team. I stayed in that program the entire year. And I'm a type of teammate that commits, injured or not, I'm here. I'm committed 100%. And so I think that they did very well on that front, making him do that, or him, staying and, shutting down critics of who he is as a player and as a human.
For sure. Two things I like about that season, and speaking with my guy Jake Honeycutt, he was a JV coach on the staff last year. But just looking at one, I think Garrison Brooks showed everybody he was an NBA player after that season. Like he was just nuts. But two, I still feel like even it was a losing season, yada yada. Coach Roy got grilled after every game, and I still felt like he came out of the season shining. I think the vibe was people were kind of wanting him to throw these guys under the bus or, make excuses or complain. And, I mean, Coach Williams was just strong every single time, never made excuses.
Yeah, and that says a lot about Coach. He consistently put himself under the bus. It's not just players. I'm coaching horrible, too. When they didn't call a timeout, I forgot what game that was, but they were supposed to call a timeout and they didn't. He took that blame. He didn't blame the player and said the player should have known that. He was like, no, I should have took that timeout. I should have told the player to done that. That's on me. That's why we lost. He consistently said, even if they're playing bad, I'm coaching worse. So, he never let them out to dry by themselves. And I think that says a lot about who he is as a leader and how much he really cares about this program. It's not just a them versus me. It's all of us versus everybody. So he definitely has that high competitive mentality. To my understanding, if you think you know Michael Jordan, you have no idea who Coach Williams is, because his competitive level is on another level.
Oh, man, I love it. He's always so fiery. I mean, he hasn't lost an ounce since he's been there. And, at Carolina, it's no excuses. It's just producing. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. And they have just reloaded again. One kid that I've seen a few times, Day'Ron Sharpe, making some headlines already. They had a very talented front court, coming back with Garrison Brooks, Armando Bacot. Then you add in Walker Kessler, Day'Ron Sharpe. Is this the best front court in the ACC? On paper, at least. I know they still got to play now.
From what my little ear is hearing through the grapevine, this team is it. Day'Ron is it. I heard that Day'Ron is everything and more. And players need to be put on notice because he's coming. That's what I'm hearing. He's coming.
Oh, I'm excited to see Day'Ron. Big, strong, local kid, 5-star recruit, just a grown man, showed some finesse. He can shoot a little bit. I think he's going to fit Roy Williams' system well because he can run and gun. got a lot of eyes on Caleb Love. Everybody's saying he's going to be a one and done. Have you heard anything about how he's been performing?
Well, I heard Caleb was phenomenal. I heard that, excuse me, let me back this up a little bit. North Carolina runs through the point guard. North Carolina's point guard university is what it is. And it goes worth saying that Coach Williams has the second best recruiting class in the NCAA and the number one recruiting class in the ACC. So that tells you right there where North Carolina is coming into this 2020 basketball season. And Caleb Love, I heard it was just, he's been great. He's been learning. You've had Kobe White come back. Kobe is feeding into Caleb and telling him exactly what Coach Williams wants. The point guard position is a very tricky yet coveted position because it is ran through everything to the point guard, to the inside. Mm-hmm. That is how Coach Williams likes to play. Up and down the court, 8 seconds flat, we need to score. That's how he is. And the speed that Caleb brings, the precision that he brings, he knows how to collapse the defense. He knows how to push out the ball. And then when you're looking on to, to his left or to his right, you have an RJ Davis, who I'm very high on. I think he's a one and done.
Right? The score.
Yeah. Oh, my God. He has, you're looking for that New York swag come to Carolina, RJ has it. Like, he has this, energy that's just pull up and shoot. It's just so effortless and clean. And he just has this energy with him with the ball, and I absolutely love it. We have Leaky Black coming back, and I think everyone is saying, if Leaky is perfect, this is a great year. Leaky is at 100%. He says, this is the most confident I've ever been. Last year, he was at 70%. So when you have a healthy Leaky Black who can literally play every single position, there's not a position on the floor that he cannot play. He's coming in strong and dominant at the wing. And then you have who else coming? You have Kerwin Walton, who I'm also high on. Kerwin can shoot. Apparently, in practice a few days ago, maybe a week or so ago, he broke the record for shooting the most threes in a row. He shot 12 threes in a row. Wow. And I heard that Kerwin is straight business. There's no laughing, there's no joking. He is straight business on the court. I heard that he was very Kawhi-esque. So if you're looking for that Kawhi, you're going to get that from Kerwin. You have Puff Johnson coming in, the younger brother of Cam Johnson. And he's a shooter as well. He's very long and he's, very quick. Who else do we have? I think that's it. We talked about Walker.
I want to say too. What about Ant Harris as well, coming off of that injury? That's a guy I think maybe the X factor for this group. What you think?
Yeah, I do. I agree. And last year off the bench, the energy that he brings is undeniable. He definitely gives you that fire that you're looking for immediately. He's the player that that the scoring isn't going to fall off when he's in. Usually you have a little bit of worry when your second team comes in, but when you have someone like Anthony Harris coming off the bench, you're not worried about that. That the tempo can be kept. That the scoring is kept. That the lead is not in jeopardy. And I don't think he's cleared to completely play. To my understanding, he's still limited in practice, but it's good that he is practicing, even though it is limited. So I do think that we'll have a great season out of Anthony Harris. Hopefully he'll come back. I don't know if he's coming back, immediately on November 25th or November 30th, I think is when they start their season. Or no, 25th. But I do think we do see Anthony Harris sometime this year. I do think coach will kind of ease him into it because coming off of, 2 ACL tears, it's not just one, it happened in both knees. Which is nuts. It is insane. I can only imagine an insecurity that can breed inside of you. And so I hope that he's, confident this year. I hope he's confident in his body and he trusts his body. He just listens to it. and he becomes a player that Carolina needs because they definitely need him. And I'll even throw in Andrew Platek. That senior leadership is definitely with Carolina. If he can come in and be that scorer that he is known to be a passer, be a rebounder, and just, you know, that stability that also Carolina needs. Even though we have it in Garrison and, you know, in Leaky, I think Andrew plays a significant part in that stability of Carolina and making sure that this team stays true to who they are and just dominate. Like, you know, I truly know they can. I really think this team is going to surprise a lot of people. The lineup, I don't know, because Coach has a really great.
Yeah.
Go ahead. He has a great problem on his hand. Like,
no, I'm just saying he's got a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no, and I think that's a good thing because in every game you don't know who Coach is going to start. Coach Williams is famous for having 62 million lineups from the start of the season until ACC play. So about the end of January, mid-February, it usually always clicks. It clicks with a certain group, and that's usually his group that he leads into the ACC tournament and, you know, post-game into April, cross fingers. So, yeah, I don't know. I know I have who I would like to see start, but I don't know who Coach is going to bring in.
Definitely, I want to see the front. I think the front court is going to be really hard to figure out. But whoever, if it's Picot, if it's Dayron, if it's Garrison, they're going to be out rebounding everybody. It's going to be tough to compete on the glass with them.
Yeah, that was the thing that Garrison actually said is that, you know, if nothing else we don't do, we're going to rebound this year. We're going to get back to being the Carolina team that's, you know, back to the basics, and that's rebounding. So I don't think rebounding will be a problem at all.
I'm excited to see a lot of expectations. Let's get a little prediction for you. How many games do they win this year in the ACC?
Oh my God, how many games are they playing? We don't even know the schedule yet.
That is true. That is true. I thought there's like a tentative going on.
We're in a pandemic.
There's a no predictions on where they finish at.
Can I just give a percentage? I think a percentage is a lot easier. I say
I mean, the ACC is gonna be tough this year.
It is. Don't do that to me. It is. The only team that I'm really worried about in the ACC, honestly, you can never sleep on Duke. Duke is always going to be Duke. Coach K will always be Coach K forever and ever, and I don't care what nobody says. You have
That's
Duke,
true.
and honestly, that's all I don't think I'm really concerned about anybody else. If anything, last year would have been Florida State, because Florida State, I think, is such an underrated team. Coach Ham does not get the recognition that he needs for that program. They would have went at least Elite 8 last year in the NCAA tournament. Phenomenal team and phenomenal coach. But a lot of his main players left last year, and that really sucks because he really had it. But the only team I think I'm worried about every year would be Duke. As always, Virginia, because you can never sleep on Virginia. Ever sleep
You're
on
going to have them Louisville Cardinals blowing your line up. Watch after this one.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Louisville. I don't think I would ever get used to Louisville being in the ACC. For some reason, I just want Maryland to come back from the Big Ten. I'm like, why did you leave me? Like, Juan Dixon didn't deserve this type of legacy. Man. You know, he deserved to be forever embedded in the ACC. But yeah.
I agree.
I haven't even looked at Louisville's roster, to be honest with you.
Oh, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be really good.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I've been so focused on Carolina and this pandemic. I'm just like, I don't even know what the schedule looks like. I don't know if there's going to be bubbles. I don't know if it's so many factors leading into this scheduling that it's so unknown.
I'm just crossing my fingers they keep the Maui in Asheville. That's what I'm really hoping for.
I think they will. Yeah. So yeah, we definitely got notification today that it's definitely in Malieville, and like we could submit for credentials today and everything. So, it's in Asheville. Yeah.
I'm excited to see. Well, last thing before we let you go, I told you ahead of time, all time starting 5. Now, this doesn't have to be the greatest Tar Heels to ever come through for people watching. This could be your favorite 5 that brought you the most joy when you was there. They still might get crushed by my 5, I don't know, but I'm just letting you know how the rules are, everybody. So I'm gonna start it off, and we can just go back and forth. And I'm
Okay.
going to pick up off what you said. The point guard is it at Carolina. You got to have one to run through everything. So my first Tar Heel that I'm going to name is my favorite point guard in Tar Heel lore, and that is my guy, Ty Lawson at the 1.
Absolutely. Same. That was my pick. Same.
Although you can't take my pick, you got to pick somebody else.
What? That's not
You
fair.
can't
You didn't tell me that. I didn't make
Nah,
no
you can't
adjustment. You did not tell me that. You did not tell me there were
okay.
any type of stipulations. If I had to have a backup, my backup would be Marcus Page. Now you made me change my list.
No, I should have let you go first. You the guest. That was rude of me.
I'm glad you know that you're rude.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna make it up to you the second pick because I know you don't have this as your 2 guard. My 2 guard is Reggie Bullock.
I did not. My 2 guard was Vince Carter.
I told you. Oh, you're not playing fair. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna go with my 3rd pick.
We probably have the same 3.
No. You go with your 3rd pick first. Only you go first this time.
My 3rd pick is MJ. To me, MJ and Vince can interchange.
Oh my god! Yeah, my team really is not gonna win. I didn't know you. My team is not gonna win. I'm gonna tell you now. My 3rd pick though is a man that played with MJ, and that is James Worthy. That's my 3rd
solid pick. No, that's a solid pick.
You don't have to spare my feelings, but I appreciate it.
No, hands down. I mean, even though James said, when he saw MJ play that he knew what it was, but I get it. James is definitely a great pick. Great guy. Yeah.
Oh,
no.
I don't regret it at all, but it's MJ at that point. I had to make it up though. My 4th pick. I hope we don't have the same one. I had to get a little nasty on mine. I needed some physicality, a little toughness. So, with no further ado, I had to go with Big Rasheed Wallace at the 4. Yeah, I needed some crazy out there, man. I needed something to wake the fans up.
I'm a match your crazy and go with Tyler Hansbrough.
Oh my goodness! Okay,
I'm gonna have him as a stretch 4. I'm a match your crazy.
Facts. Well, you took so I'm gonna have to go with another 5 then. Yes, with my 5, I'm gonna go with the national champion.
That's my
Sean May at the 5.
That was my 5.
Oh, okay. I still think I gotta give your squad the edge. That's a tough matchup. MJ and Vince, y'all might be taking the rim home with y'all that night.
I all my players except for Ty can just really be, interchanged. I can put Tyler at the 5, and I can Sean may be like a real stretch 4, but he can give me something at the 4. Vince can play the 3, and MJ can play the 2. I mean, that's MJ's natural position. So I like diversity. Just move my plays everywhere. I don't know where they're going.
I see that. You got them interchangeable parts. I gotta bring my A squad for this game next time because I think I'm taking a dub by 20 at least with these guys on the court.
If anything, we're gonna get Rasheed in trouble. Tyler gonna get Rasheed in some foul trouble. That's easy. You're gonna get us a couple of texts. He already out by the second quarter and with 10 minutes to go. So yeah.
See, that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about right there. I don't want to have to sub in. I don't have any subs, and I'm coaching. No.
She already got 2 texts and like 16 files. It's already gone.
I'm gonna hurry. Y'all in the bonus already. Quierra, I appreciate you joining me. Let them know where they can find you on social media so they can follow all your dope coverage this year.
You can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook by my name, QUIERRA_LUCK. Yeah, Facebook and Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is where I usually parlay. So that's where you can find me.
Oh, parlay. I like that. Y'all go parlay. Hit that follow button. We appreciate y'all joining us for another episode. Y'all stay tuned for all the latest. That's a wrap for us.